Aging. No, I'm not gonna say it. We were joking around just before because I needed to be more enthusiastic about this episode. Yes, yes, I wanna make sure that you understand that the aspects of aging are those things that, well, people do joke around about it. They'll say, "Oh, this is what happens, kids, when you get to be my age," or someone goes, "Well, considering their age," or "Can you believe it? They're turning this next, you know, age." And, so the aspects of aging are things that I guess are the reason why people switch from saying, "I'm getting older," or "When I get old," to "I'm there." So the aspects that I'm approaching today are not, things that, maybe are much of an uplift, but that's why I created the Pre-Actor Age Journal, because you can dive into those aspects of aging that are daunting. I mean, they're depressing. They're things that people do not want to think about or talk about. And so now you get a chance to approach it and then walk away from it with a plan, with something to do, something to make sure that your emotional and relational outcomes in your near future, well, near future or distant future, will have your stamp on it. It will be yours to drive. It won't be just happening to you. In the last episode, I asked you about vortexes, about the way that wind and water whirl around. And I said, which direction does it spin? A hurricane or water that's just going down a drain? And my guess is that many of you have already heard that it spins one way in the northern hemisphere, another way in the southern hemisphere. So I looked up one particular spot where people were all giving their input. Some of the people had been on ships that traveled north and south of the equator, and they had actually done experiments because this was their career, maybe in the military or some sort of shipping. And they had so many reactions. And throughout this column of responses to those questions, there were arguments. There were people saying, so and so, George Jones is wrong because I have tested this out, or I have friends all over the world and we all did this at the same time. I have video proof. And I just thought, this is maddening. There can't be that many different answers to this. And so I'm going to let you know that I literally thought, well, we really didn't know which direction the wind was blowing in hurricanes until we could see them from above the atmosphere. So if you're laying on the ground when a hurricane goes by, it would be spinning the other direction. So which way are you looking? Ah, maddening. And that brings me to today's aspect of aging, which is disregarded. This is part A, and it has to do with decisions about me. So people are just coming into your life and they are moving things around. They are making decisions and they are disregarding you. They're just like, no, you can't have this here anymore. This isn't working, or you need these. We've got to install this. We're we're not going to deal with this anymore, or something has gone wrong. It's really going to go badly in the future. We're sure of it. So we're just removing that from your decision-making capacity. And they're not handcuffing you, but you're feeling like it. You're feeling like you're a prisoner in your own home. You're feeling like they're interfering, or they are, um, switching things or making suggestions. When did I stop being the adult? When did I stop being in charge of my own life? So your feelings are going crazy, and they're having reactions to your reactions, and it is maddening. It happens for different reasons. Again, I am not talking about a person who has gone down the Alzheimer's trail, or is having hallucinations due to Parkinson's, or is having drug interaction problems, or has been hit in the head. This is just that you have your way of living, and now it's not good enough. It's wrong. It's dangerous. It's putting you in harm's way. It's putting them in a vortex of worry, and also having to, as people say, put out fires. They're having to undo problems, and it's just it's like you're just being deleted. Your opinion is just being pushed aside on these particular issues or items, or things that you've always been in charge of. And there's lots of raised voices. There's lots of disagreements among the people who are caring about you. And I'm giving you some options. I'm giving you the opportunity to approach that subject, and to have a plan in place ahead of time. The second aspect of aging is also being disregarded, or, well, it's not so much you, but it's as if you are a time traveler. You've just stepped out of a time machine in the future, even though you were awake yesterday and last week and last year. But it seems that the things that were normal and natural in your culture, in the way that you framed the way things are happening in life, yes, it is as if you've stepped into someone else's culture, into a completely different world where normal just isn't anymore. It seems like other people they just don't do it right. They're When you say, "But I've always done it this way," or "This is my favorite," there's this look in the eyes as if your way doesn't exist anymore, or has no bearing, or isn't going to take care of things as well as their way. So this sorry about that. This is something that happens, again, without there being a mental difficulty, but your traditions have stayed with you for so long. It just seems like time has compressed, and something that has changed for several years to you in your way of measuring what's right, taking a barometer reading on what should be done, or how things should be approached, or what would be the best, or what would be nice. It's just it's off. The battery's dead. Somebody's handed you something that doesn't work anymore, and it's befuddling. And so you feel like, maybe your way is wrong, maybe my way is right, and yet it seems like the vast majority is just moving on without you, and disregarding the way you've always done things. The last aspect today is, well, you could say it's about eye candy. It's similar to being disregarded, but it seems kind of kinder and kind of condescending at the same time. So every time you are taking charge of something personal, just an activity, just the way that you do things, someone instead is couching their words in such a way that you're not really sure what they're getting at, but they sound really nice about it. They have a sweet sound to their voice, the eye candy. They've distracted you with something that you enjoy. Maybe they're taking turns just visiting with you, reminiscing with you, but you know that there's something going on in the background. I mean, you're intelligent and you've been an adult and you've been around people who are aging, and you know when people are not really divulging everything. They're being very careful the way that they word their responses to you. And yes, they are doing what magicians do. They're deflecting. They're pointing your attention one direction while something else is being slipped into a pocket. So they feel that the way that you're doing things are maybe not as efficient, or would make their life more efficient if it was done this way. But nobody's blaming you. Nobody's taking anything away from you. They're just not dealing with that subject that you want to deal with right now, and they're just keeping everything very light and wonderful. But you're getting kind of a sugar high, and you just want the meat. You just want to talk about it and be straightforward. So I call that trick or treat. Don't treat me like a child. Talk to me about these issues that are bothering you. And they are reluctant to, because they know that if they go straight forward with something when you're not really ready, that you will be upset. They don't want to upset you again, especially at your age. And so we've got trick, as in a magic trick. So they're disguising and they're covering, and it's smoke and mirrors. And that's bringing me into the question for next episode. And that is, can you name the 3 countries that celebrate with trick or treating once a year? And can you name 7 traditions around the observance of Halloween? Traditions from way back, or traditions maybe that are more now. So 3 countries that do trick-or-treating, Halloween. How is it commemorated? What happens? What do people do? So that's your thought for the next time. There'll be a lot of different right answers for the 7 traditions, and the 3 countries, I think that's pretty well said. I want to make sure that I highlight that in the prompted journal for pre-acting your age, there is a category for worst case scenario. That's your opportunity to say, that is the one thing I want to avoid. This thing happening to me, projecting myself into my distant future as an elderly person, I feel like that would be the worst. It may be, or not the worst. Stay away from those superlatives, because there's always going to be a new worst. Things are going to change. But one of the worst things, or 2 or 3, that you don't want to do, you don't want to feel, you don't want to have happen to your relationships. That is one of the things that you can think of ahead of time as you're pre-planning for better outcomes. I do want to take this moment to let you know that the next 3 aspects of aging in the next episode will be loss and grief. This is also a 2-parter, loss and grief, which I call too close for comfort. Then loss and grief part 2, the missing piece. Peace can be spelled both ways. The missing piece, like a puzzle, and the missing peaceful feeling. And the third one is older care, not elder care. Older care, because we are both getting up there. Those are the 3 for next time. And now to just sign off from this episode, I would like to point out that we pre-plan for our future fun, our future fitness, our future furniture arrangements, as in your home, maybe ADA. We pre-arrange our financial situations, maybe with an attorney or a CPA. We even pre-arrange our funerals. But what about the one thing that affects everything as we age? How we feel and how those around us feel. Have we documented? Have we communicated? Have we done something ahead of time to make those aging issues not quite so maddening? I have written the Pre-Act Your Age journal, 52 different aspects of aging that you can approach at this point in your life. I've done this because most people don't really want to think about growing very, very old, but I do because I'm the aging enthusiast.